Something is better than nothing. You must fail so you may succeed. Time. All right, let's have a look. Boo, boo, da, boo. I feel blue, or something like that. And why blue? Great question. So I feel blue basically means that like you're feeling sad or depressed. So this isn't anything to do with like sick, just like under the weather or things like that. Just I feel blue. We can also say I feel down. Why blue is a great question. So every culture, the colors have different meanings, right? So for example, in British and American culture for sure, blue is the color of sadness. I don't know if you guys saw. There's a movie about like emotions, Inside Out, something like that. Blue, the blue character is the character of sadness. You have music like The Blues, which is literally all about my life is terrible and I'm very sad. So blue is just the color that represents sadness in British and American English. Now you know. But interestingly, I think is it like yeah, different cultures, blue means different things. It's just a cultural difference. There you go. Out of the blue, does it mean suddenly? It does. So many blue topics. I love it. So in this case, and this is the frustrating thing with idioms, is that this blue means like the sky or the ocean, right? So the sky is blue, the ocean is blue, and if it just came out of the blue, it means like out of nowhere is another way to phrase this idiom. So just like you didn't predict it, it just happened out of the blue. So yeah, for example, he called me out of the blue, like it just happened very suddenly. I didn't know. Okay. Speak of the devil. Oh, it's a great one. I use that with this one a lot actually, so this is quite useful. We use speak of the devil as in like, let's say you and I were talking about somebody, and I was like, oh, I heard John just got a new car, and then John appears, and you would say, oh, speak of the devil, and basically it means I was just talking about this person, and we only use it for people. The logic is it's actually an old kind of Bible thing, I think, where there's this thing where like Voldemort in Harry Potter, like if you say the devil's name, if you say devil, then he appears. You summon him by using his name, which is why they don't say Voldemort in Harry Potter. Same logic. Like don't say the word because he'll hear and he'll come. So there's the longer version is speak of the devil and he shall appear is the reference, but we use it to describe people as well. Like if you're gossiping about someone and then you see him say, oh, speak of the devil, he's right there. That's how we use it. So speak of the devil, you've summoned him by gossiping about him. Beat around the bush. Lovely. Yeah, to avoid answering a question, absolutely. We usually use this with ing as well. So like he was beating around the bush. And the reason it being is because it's like the whole point is that he's not saying the thing. He's not answering the question. He's not making the point. So we usually say like ing, beating around the bush, because it's like this longer, more general thing where it's like, yeah, you're saying everything, but not the thing we want to hear. So he was beating around the bush. You are beating around the bush. Or if we're just being very direct, we could just say like, don't beat around the bush, as in tell me. There you go. The reason is like, basically, I think this is a hunting thing. So when you're hunting birds like quail or pheasants, as every Britishman does, of course, don't go hunting, guys. Hunting is wrong. And basically, you beat around the bush because the bird is inside. So you're not actually getting the bird. You're like scaring the bird. Something like that. All good, Mike. You got it. All good yourself. I like under the weather. No H. Only because I know the meaning, but I don't like being under the weather. No H. So does WEATHER. Yeah, lovely. Yeah, I'm feeling under the weather. I think this is the thing with idioms is that they are very natural. So if you're trying to improve your English, it's like a kind of good feeling like, I'm just a bit under the weather. It's a nice way to get a more emotional response because it's a more casual thing to say. But The problem with idioms, I would say, is exactly as you described. If you know the exact meaning and the perfect way to use it, amazing. But there's so many ways to get idioms wrong. So you have to be very, very confident that you're using it at the right time, the right situation, the right context, the right grammar. And this is why idioms are really nice. And I know you love them so much, but don't invest too much time in them. Find one or two that you like, drop them in when appropriate. But if you're just learning all idioms, oh, your head's going to explode. My favorite is there's no room to swing a cat. Sounded cute. It turned out cat is a tool for torturing people. That is correct. So actually it's called a cat o' nine tails. They used to use it on boats to like whip sailors. And there's not enough room to swing a cat, as in like you could even whip people. But you know, it still makes sense. And actually most people, native speakers included, don't know that the cat is a whip. They think of a cat as a cat, which also makes sense, because if I had a cat by its tail and I was trying to swing a cat, you'd still need a bit of space for that. So, but yeah, there's no room to swing a cat, just as in like, there's no space, there's no room. Lovely. Last one. As the twig is bent, so is the tree inclined. My goodness, I've never heard this one. I can guess what it means. Is there a short version? So honestly, I've never heard it. And I can guess what it means from the context. So the twig is the smaller part of the tree. And basically, I guess what it's saying is that, like, so for example, if the twig is bent like this way, then the general trend, the general tree is like inclined or leaning that way. So I guess like this one small thing is an indication of a bigger problem or a bigger trend. I put hard money on that's what it means. But at the same time, no one uses it. And this is actually the problem with idioms, is that especially if you're online or using ChatGPT and it's like, give me a list of all these idioms, so many of them are not used, and people just look at you like, okay. So this is beautiful, it's very poetic, but we would not use this in natural speech. So in terms of the short version for idioms is always the first bit. So as the twig is bent, but no one would know what you're talking about. And this is kind of the issue with idioms. They're lovely, they're very poetic, there's a lot of history and culture to them. But if we don't use them naturally, people will have no idea what you're talking about. And then you've lost the whole purpose of the communication and expressing yourself. So some idioms just die. It's very sad, but it's true. So there you go. Have a vote, guys. Which of these was your favorite? Are you like, oh, incredible? I think Speak of the Devil is probably one of my favorites because I use that one more commonly than any of the others. It's a great one. But don't let me bias your vote. Which did you like? Click on your phone. You only get one choice, so choose wisely. And we will continue our fabulous adventure and discuss the much more complicated but much more useful phrasal verb. All right. Boom. Time.